Hi, so I was wondering if I could get some ideas on this creature I just witnessed. I recently moved back into my mom's house while my brother and I looked for our own place, and since coming back here, there have been some strange occurrences. I've witnessed cups being pushed off tables, shadows moving in the corner of my eyes, or behind me in the mirror, or I even swear I saw someone walk down the stairs and into another room. These are all rare though and haven't happened often. What has been constant are vivid dreams. Usually when I go to bed, it's just quick darkness, and then it's the next morning, and here it's constantly vivid. Most of the time, it's normal stuff, and I can barely remember the dream the next morning. Typically, I never hear anything, you just sort of know that something was said, and names never come up. This is important. 2 nights ago, though, I had a dream I was on the couch in our living room, and the house was somewhat different. The stairs were in the wrong place, and the kitchen was on a completely different floor. I saw eyes from my downstairs landing, red eyes. I wasn't scared of it though, and yelled for it to go away. It felt normal. Then they came back, peeking out from behind the railing. I then chased it down the stairs, not seeing what it was, and ran to our laundry room. The door slammed as I got close. It was then that I called it Max. My mother came to the door and banged on it, yelling at it to go away. I pleaded with her to stop saying it would only make it angry. I went back upstairs and could see from my stairs again that the first door was open in our kitchen. I came close, and that's when I saw it, a pale red tinted round old man with a bald head. He turned and looked at me. A thought raced through my head, that's not Max, that's Sam, as if I knew him. That's when I woke up. Again, I have never had such a vivid dream, and never have I named something in a dream, let alone twice. I don't put much merit on dreams usually, but when a dream is so vivid and names are involved, along with everything else that has happened in this house, I feel as if there's some meaning to it. I would love to know if anyone has any thoughts on this. I've wanted to tell this story somewhere for a while now. I figured this should be the place. This event happened in, I want to say, mid-late 2019, so around 2 years ago, and it still gives me chills just talking about it. Around 11 p.m., I was in bed tired and ready to go to sleep, but I had this extremely uncomfortable negative feeling. I swear someone or something was trying to warn me and kept telling me not to go to sleep. But I stupidly did anyway, despite by that time already being a spiritual, superstitious person. Around 3 a.m., I woke up, didn't even have to question, didn't even have to wonder what was going on. I don't know how to put the feeling into words, but it's like I just by instinct knew what was going on. I was out of my body in astral form, and I didn't see it immediately, but I knew something was in the room with me. My first instinct was to get up and get out, but I was barely able to move as my movement was somehow sluggish. As I leaned over, I felt whatever it was immediately approach and go over me. It began putting pressure on my back and hold me in place. Even though the situation was terrifying and I was scared out of my mind, I was still composed and calm, knowing that panic would be the worst case of action as these entities feed off of fear. This lasted about 3 seconds before I awoke back in my body sweating and heart racing. That was probably the scariest experience of my life to this day, and I know for a fact whatever that entity was, it had evil intent. I was somehow able to eventually go back to sleep despite what had just happened. A few months ago, I had a similar experience, but it was nowhere near as terrifying. I went to sleep on my back when this happened. This is another feeling or state I don't know how to explain, but I'm sure there's a term for it. I was sort of like conscious and aware of my physical surroundings, yet still asleep and in a dreamlike state. As I lay in bed, I felt something move to the right of my face on the pillow I was laying on. I then felt its presence move to the left over me and lingered there for a few seconds before moving on until I could no longer feel its presence. I haven't had that kind of experience since the one a few months ago, but I still typically avoid putting too much thought into it, since I know that's what attracts such things. I'll go ahead and drop how the story was just to give context on the situation and how this being interacted with me. So when I was young, I had terrifying recurring nightmares that would be different based on where I lived at the time. 3 very unique things tormented me for my entire childhood, and I will still remember them in good detail. One night when I was 10 or 11, experiencing a nightmare, everything halfway through my fleeing the entity, the one hunting me. I come across a small clearing where I see a woman wearing a dark cloak with a neutral expression, white-colored mask on her face, if she had one. Her eyes were void, and she gave off a very mysterious but cold, comforting feeling. She said she would take my nightmares away and promised me I'll never have any more. I accepted her offer, and after that, I never had a nightmare or felt fear in any of my strong lucid dreams. Since this event, I've experienced many odd encounters, such as small vision, paranormal encounters that random, seeing orbs, hovering blurs, encounter hostile entities entering my dreams, items moving their own when I'm alone, a figure behind me between long but random amount of time between each encounter, etc. I largely believe these things happen because of my interaction with the masked woman. It's been almost over 9 years, and I still remember it like it was yesterday.